All right, so now that we've talked about how to conjugate the verb ser and gone over what our adjectives are, we now need to talk about how to use these two things in a sentence together. Okay, first we're going to start with adjective agreement. Okay, so the first rule that you have to remember with adjectives in Spanish is that they have to be placed after the noun that they describe. So, what this looks like in an example in English. Okay, in English we would say something like the tall boy. Okay? However, in Spanish, we cannot structure our sentence in this way. Instead, we have to kind of flip things around, and instead we say the boy tall. So all of your sentences in Spanish, when you are describing something, have to follow this order right here. You have your noun right here that you're describing, and then your adjective. Okay, the second rule that we have to remember, and this is probably the most important rule with adjectives, okay, is that adjectives must match the noun in number, meaning singular or plural, and gender, meaning masculine or feminine, with the noun that they describe. Okay, remember to ask yourself, is this masculine or feminine? And is it singular or plural to help you match? So if you remember back to our list of adjectives, okay, you will remember that a lot of your adjectives actually ended with the letter O, and then they had a little /a there. Okay, so let's think about the word auto, for example. Okay, it looked like this, and then we had this /a. Okay, this is because of this rule right here. The adjectives must match the noun in number and gender. Okay, so if you ever have an adjective like auto, where it ends in that letter O, it is possible for that last letter to change. Now, this is something that's completely different from verb conjugation because this is not a verb, this is an adjective. Okay, this is adjective agreement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to label this box. Okay, we're going to have masculine and feminine. And then we will have singular and plural. Oops. Okay, so when you have a noun that is masculine and singular, your adjective is going to end with the letter O. For example, we could say auto. But what if your noun is feminine? Well, if your noun is feminine, it's going to end with the letter A. So instead of auto, if we were saying, let's say, if we were describing a girl, we would say auta. If you have a noun that is masculine and plural, so let's say we're talking about a group of boys, your ending is going to be OS. Okay, basically, we just take the original ending in the singular form and we make it plural. Okay, so with the word auto, we would say autos. Okay, now if we were talking about a group of girls, it's basically the same thing. Okay, it's just taking that original ending for a feminine singular noun and we change it to be plural and we get autas. Okay, this is how you match the noun that you were describing. You match it with number, which is over here, and you match it with gender up here. If you can remember this chart, that will help you in kind of figuring out, okay, what ending does my adjective need when I'm describing different people? So if we look at some examples here, okay, try to see, and you're probably going to want to pause the video here, try to see if you can go through and write out these just short little phrases here based on what we just talked about up here. Okay, so go ahead, pause your video, see if you can write these out, and then once you're done, you can play the video and I'll have the answers up here for you. So for the tall girl, what we end up doing, remember that girl has to go first, so we say la chica. Okay, my adjective is alto, but now I'm talking about a girl, so it's feminine, so I'm going to say alta. Okay, for the big book, we have el libro. Our adjective for book is grande. Now what about for the classes, the interesting classes? Okay, if you remember, the word for class is la clase, but we have to make that plural because it's talking about classes. Okay, so I'm going to say las clases. Remember, in Spanish, there's only one S there in the word clase. Okay, and then my adjective for interesting is interesante. Okay, however, this right here, interesante, does not match las clases, not yet. Now, interesante ends in the letter E, meaning I can't change its gender. I can't make it masculine or feminine. It's going to stay as interesante, but I can change the number. Okay, I can make this word plural, and because we're talking about multiple classes, I have to make sure that I make this plural. Okay? Now, I am going to erase what I've written here so that I have space for my other examples over here. So let me just erase these real quick. All right. So for the old magazines, okay, we have las revistas. Okay, if you remember your word for old, it is viejo. Okay, but I have to look at my word that I'm describing. I'm describing las revistas. So I can't end it with an O because that wouldn't match. Instead, I have to use the letters AS. Las revistas viejas. All right. Now for the smart students. Okay, the word for students, los estudiantes. Okay, your word for smart or intelligent is inteligente. But does that match los estudiantes? No, because inteligente is just referring to a singular item, whereas los estudiantes is plural, so I have to add on that S to make it plural. Okay, and then finally, for the easy test, we have el examen. Okay, and for my word easy, I use fácil. Remember that there's an accent over the A in fácil. All right, so that is how you match adjectives to the nouns they're describing. Now, moving on, we need to know how to use the verb ser with adjectives. Okay, so just as a review, there's your conjugation for the verb ser. All right, we talked about this in the last video. You have yo soy, tú eres, él, ella, or usted es, nosotros somos, vosotros sois, and ellos, ellas, and ustedes son. Now, when you go to use these with an adjective, again, the adjective has to match gender and number of the noun that you are describing. So if I want to say, I am tall, okay, let's first start with saying I am. Well, that's just yo soy. I am. Now all I need is my adjective. Okay, my word for tall is alto. Because I'm talking about myself and I am a male, I'm going to use the masculine form. So I'm going to say alto. Yo soy alto. Okay. Now for the next one, we are funny. So for we are, we have nosotros somos. Okay. Our adjective for funny is the word cómico. All right, so we have cómico. Now, does cómico here, does this match nosotros? It doesn't, because we is talking about multiple people, not just one person. Okay, so what do we have to do here with cómico? Well, we have to make it plural. Okay, because nosotros is masculine, we're just going to keep that O there and we're just going to add the letter S. Nosotros somos cómicos. For the last one here, the family is nice. So we have la familia. Okay. Now, when we go to use a form of ser for this, remember that for la familia, okay, la familia is referring to a single family. Not the amount of people in the family, just that single family. For that reason, you are going to use es. So la familia es. And then our word for nice is simpático, with an accent over the A. However, notice that la familia, that is feminine. So I can't use simpático. Instead, I have to match the gender of the noun I'm describing, which is la familia. So I'm going to make it simpática. All right. And that is using adjectives with the verb ser.